I didn't become strong because life was kind to me. I became strong because I refused to let it finish me. I know some of you are tired, not lazy, not unmotivated, just tired from trying and trying and trying again. You've been patient with your pain, you've smiled through disappointment. You've carried dreams quietly because the world didn't feel safe enough to hear them yet. If that's you, listen closely. This message is not about perfection. It's about endurance. It's about becoming the woman who refused to break. Strength is not loud. It doesn't need to announce itself, defend itself, or prove itself. Real strength is quiet. It is loyal. Loyal to a vision that only you can see. Loyal to a promise you made to yourself on nights when your heart was heavy and your future felt uncertain. Loud strength seeks validation. Quiet strength seeks alignment. And most of the women who truly make it in life don't arrive with noise. They arrive with resilience. I learned this early, not because someone taught me, but because life demanded it. There were moments when nothing was moving fast enough, when effort didn't equal reward, when I was working harder than ever, yet standing still in the eyes of the world. That's when you discover what kind of strength you carry. Because when applause fades, when encouragement dries up, when no one is checking on your progress, that's when loyalty shows itself. Loyalty to your dream, loyalty to your discipline, loyalty to the woman you are becoming. Strength is waking up and choosing to try again when yesterday didn't work. It's walking into rooms where you feel invisible and still holding your posture with dignity. It's staying kind in a world that keeps testing your patience. Strength is not about never feeling afraid. It's about refusing to let fear make your decisions. And most days, that choice is silent. Nobody claps for it. Nobody posts about it. But it counts. There were times when I questioned myself deeply. Times when comparison crept in quietly, asking why someone else was moving faster, being chosen sooner, celebrated louder. And in those moments, strength didn't shout back. It whispered, it said, stay. Stay with your path. Stay with your pace. Stay with your values. Because leaving yourself to chase approval is the fastest way to lose your power. Quiet strength is built in repetition, in routine, in doing the unglamorous work when no one is watching, in showing up on days when motivation is gone but commitment remains. It's choosing excellence in small things, believing that consistency compounds even when results are invisible. That kind of strength doesn't break easily because it's not built on mood. It's built on meaning. And let me tell you something important. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room to be the strongest presence. You don't need to explain your ambition to people who don't understand your hunger. You don't need to announce every move you make. Strength knows where it's going. It doesn't rush. It doesn't beg. It doesn't compete. It trusts. There is a deep spiritual discipline in quiet strength. It requires faith. Faith that the work you're doing matters even when results are delayed. Faith that obedience to your purpose will eventually open the right doors. Faith that preparation is never wasted. When you keep going without validation, you're not behind, you're being fortified. Some days strength looks like endurance. Other days it looks like restraint. Knowing when to speak and when silence protects your peace. Knowing when to push and when rest is an act of wisdom, not weakness. Strength is not self-destruction. It is self-respect. It honors the body, the mind, and the soul. If you've been carrying your dream quietly, I want you to hear this. You are not invisible. You are in incubation. And incubation seasons are quiet by design. Nothing grows while screaming. Seeds grow in darkness, roots grow in silence, And the deeper the roots, the higher the rise. So don't mistake calm for weakness. Don't mistake patience for fear. Don't mistake humility for lack of ambition. The woman who stays loyal to her calling, even when no one notices, is building something unshakable. Because when strength is loyal, it doesn't need permission to endure. It doesn't need applause to continue. It simply shows up again and again until life has no choice but to respond. This is how unbreakable women are formed. Not in moments of attention, but in seasons of quiet commitment. Rejection will visit you. More than once, sometimes politely, sometimes brutally, and almost always unexpectedly. It shows up as a closed door, an unanswered call, a silence that feels louder than any insult. And if you're not careful, rejection will try to convince you that it is a verdict on your worth. It is not. It is direction. I used to take rejection personally. I questioned myself, my talent, my timing, my place in the world. I wondered if I had misunderstood my calling, if I had dreamed too big, reached too far, asked for too much. But over time, I realized something life-changing. Rejection was never trying to eliminate me. It was trying to educate me. Every no carried information. Every door that shut redirected my steps. What felt like denial was often protection. What felt like failure was often filtration. Life has a way of removing you from rooms that would have shrunk you, even when you're convinced you belong there. And sometimes the reason a door doesn't open is because you're meant to build something entirely new. Rejection strips you of illusion. It forces clarity. When you're constantly chosen, you don't ask questions, you don't refine, you don't sharpen. But when you're told no, you begin to look inward. You ask, what do I really want? What am I willing to fight for? What am I called to do, even if no one approves? And those questions shape character. There were moments when rejection felt humiliating. When it challenged my confidence and tested my faith. When I had to walk away with grace, even though my heart was bruised. But those moments taught me humility without shrinking me. They taught me how to lose without becoming bitter, how to wait without becoming resentful, how to trust without seeing proof. Here is the truth no one tells you. Rejection often comes right before expansion. Because growth requires separation. You cannot become who you're meant to be while clinging to spaces that no longer fit your evolution. When something rejects you, it may be because you've outgrown it, not because you weren't enough. Rejection also teaches discernment. You learn not every opportunity is aligned. Not every invitation is meant to be accepted. Not every open door leads to peace. Sometimes the most dangerous doors are the ones that open too easily, and sometimes the closed ones save you years of regret. There is also a spiritual lesson hidden in rejection. It humbles your ego and strengthens your faith. It reminds you that your life is not guided by popularity but by purpose, that your path is not crowded because it is specific, that approval from people is temporary but alignment with your calling is eternal. If you've been rejected recently, I want you to pause before you internalize it. Ask what it's teaching you. Ask what it's redirecting you toward. Ask who you're becoming in the process. Because rejection is not an ending. It's a recalibration. It's life saying, not this way. There's another road. And here's the most powerful part. When you stop chasing acceptance, you start attracting alignment. When you stop begging for doors to open, you gain the courage to knock with authority or to walk away without apology. Rejection builds that strength. It teaches you self-trust. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you patience. One day you will look back and Thank every door that closed. You will realize how much smaller your life would have been if everything you wanted had worked out immediately. You will see how rejection refined your vision, sharpened your discipline, and anchored your faith. So don't let rejection define you. Let it direct you. Let it move you closer to where you truly belong. Because what is meant for you will never require you to abandon yourself to receive it. There will be days when motivation disappears completely, not because you stop believing, but because you are human. Because the body gets tired, because the mind gets overwhelmed, because life doesn't pause just because you're trying to become better. And in those moments, motivation will not save you. Discipline will. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls with circumstances. It shows up when results are visible, when praise is loud, when progress feels exciting. But discipline is deeper than emotion. Discipline is spiritual. It is a quiet agreement you make with your future self. It is choosing to act in alignment with your purpose, even when your feelings argue otherwise. I learned very early that if I waited to feel ready, I would never move. If I waited to feel confident, I would stay frozen. Growth does not happen in perfect emotional conditions. It happens on ordinary, exhausting, imperfect days when you show up anyway. Discipline is saying, I will honor the work, even when the work doesn't reward me yet. There were mornings when getting out of bed felt heavier than the dream itself. Days when doubt spoke louder than belief. Moments when the gap between effort and outcome felt unfair. And still, discipline asked one simple question. Will you keep your word to yourself today? Not tomorrow, not when things improve. Today, discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect. It is understanding that your calling deserves consistency, not convenience. When you train your body, your mind, your craft with discipline, you're telling yourself, I matter enough to prepare. And preparation is an act of faith. You don't prepare for things you don't believe are coming. What most people don't understand is that discipline protects you. It protects you from burnout by creating structure. It protects you from distraction by anchoring your focus. It protects you from comparison by keeping your eyes on your own lane. When you are disciplined, other people's timelines stop threatening you. You're too busy honoring your own. Discipline also builds confidence in a way motivation never can. Motivation says, I feel good, so I'll try. Discipline says, I've practiced, so I'm ready. Confidence earned through discipline is quiet, grounded, and unshakable. It doesn't panic when things go wrong, because it knows the work has been done. There is something sacred about showing up when no one is watching, about rehearsing when the room is empty, about preparing when the applause hasn't arrived. That kind of discipline builds integrity. And integrity builds power, because when opportunity finally knocks, you don't scramble, you respond. Let me be honest with you, discipline is not glamorous. It doesn't look good on social media, it doesn't come with instant rewards. Some days it feels boring, some days it feels lonely, but discipline compounds. Every small act of consistency stacks quietly until one day people call it overnight success. And here's the truth. Discipline carries you through seasons when faith feels thin, when prayers feel unanswered, when progress feels invisible. Discipline becomes your anchor. It keeps you moving forward even when emotions try to pull you backward. It is how you keep walking through fog without losing direction. Discipline also teaches humility. It reminds you that talent alone is not enough. That desire without structure leads to frustration. That dreams without habits remain wishes. When you choose discipline, you choose growth over comfort. You choose long-term fulfillment over short-term relief. There is a deeper lesson here. Discipline trains you to trust yourself. Every time you do what you said you would do, you build self-trust. And self-trust is power. Because once you trust yourself, you stop depending on external validation to move forward. If motivation has abandoned you lately, don't panic. You're not failing. You're being invited to mature. Lean into discipline. Create rhythms. Honor routines. Keep promises to yourself, even small ones, especially small ones. Because the woman who masters discipline doesn't need constant inspiration. She becomes reliable, grounded, ready. And when life tests her, as it always does, she doesn't collapse. She stands, not because she feels strong, but because she trained for the moment. There comes a moment in every woman's life when pain asks a dangerous question. Will you let this harden you, or will you let it teach you? Because pain, when mishandled, turns into armor. And armor feels like protection, but it slowly becomes a prison. I used to believe strength meant pretending I was unaffected, smiling through disappointment, moving forward without acknowledging what hurt. I thought if I stayed tough enough, nothing could touch me. But that kind of toughness comes at a cost. It disconnects you from your own heart. And when you are disconnected from your heart, you lose your intuition, your empathy, your softness, the very things that make you powerful. Healing didn't begin when the pain stopped. Healing began when I told the truth, first to myself, about the disappointment, about the fear, about the grief of things not turning out the way I imagined. Honesty is uncomfortable because it removes the mask. But it is also freeing because it allows light to enter places you've kept closed for too long. There is nothing weak about acknowledging pain. What weakens you is pretending it doesn't exist. Unprocessed pain doesn't disappear, it settles. It shows up in your relationships, your decisions, your self-worth. It makes you defensive when no one is attacking, distant when someone is trying to love you, exhausted without knowing why. Healing asks for courage of a different kind. Not the courage to fight the world, but the courage to sit with yourself. To ask, what am I really feeling? To admit, this hurt me. To say, I'm not okay yet, but I want to be. That honesty is not collapse. It is the beginning of restoration. I learned that becoming hard is easy. Life pushes you there naturally. Disappointment sharpens your edges. Betrayal teaches you walls. Failure whispers, don't try again. But staying soft in a hard world, that takes strength. That takes faith. That takes discipline. Softness does not mean weakness. Softness means you are still open, still teachable, still capable of joy. It means pain didn't steal your ability to feel deeply or love honestly. It means you refuse to let bitterness rewrite your character. Healing also requires patience. There is no deadline for emotional recovery, no timeline for grief, no shortcut for forgiveness. Some wounds close slowly, and that doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. Be gentle with your process. You are not late. You are doing sacred work. And let me say this clearly, healing does not mean forgetting. It means remembering without bleeding. It means the memory no longer controls your reactions. It means the experience becomes wisdom, not a wound. That is the difference between survival and growth. There were moments when I had to unlearn habits that pain taught me. Hyper-independence, emotional, withdrawal, overworking to avoid feeling. These behaviors once protected me, but they were no longer serving who I was becoming. Healing asked me to release them with compassion, not shame. Faith plays a quiet but powerful role in healing. Faith reminds you that pain is not punishment, that suffering is not a sign of abandonment, that there is purpose even in what you don't yet understand. Faith doesn't rush healing, it supports it. It says, you are held even here. One of the bravest things you will ever do is allow yourself to feel again after being hurt, to trust again after disappointment, to hope again after delay. That choice is not naive, it is revolutionary. It says, life did not win, I am still here. If you are healing right now, don't pressure yourself to be over it. Don't compare your process to anyone else's. Don't shame yourself for needing time. Healing is not a straight line. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days you'll feel exposed. Both are part of becoming whole. And remember this, you don't heal by becoming colder. You heal by becoming clearer. Clear about your boundaries. Clear about your values. Clear about what you deserve. Healing sharpens your discernment without dulling your heart. So choose honesty over hardness. Choose growth over armor. Choose healing over hiding. Because the woman who heals does not just survive pain, she transforms it into wisdom. And that wisdom becomes her quiet power. There is a kind of waiting that exhausts you, and there is a kind of waiting that strengthens you. The difference is faith. Because waiting without faith feels like abandonment, but waiting with faith feels like preparation. And most of the most important transformations in my life didn't happen when I was winning. They happened when I was waiting. Waiting is uncomfortable because it offers no evidence, no applause, no guarantees, just silence and uncertainty. You pray and nothing changes. You work and nothing moves. You believe but nothing confirms it. And in those moments, faith becomes more than belief. It becomes endurance. I used to think faith was loud, confident, unshaken. But real faith is often quiet. It wakes up every morning and chooses trust again, even after disappointment. It keeps going when logic says stop. It rests without knowing the outcome. Faith doesn't always say, I know how this will end. Sometimes it simply says, I will not quit here. Waiting seasons test you in ways success never can. Success reveals what you can do. Waiting reveals who you are. It exposes impatience, fear, control, doubt. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself that want immediate results, instant validation, quick relief. And if you let it, waiting will mature you. There were times when I wondered if the waiting meant I was forgotten, if I had missed my moment, if my dreams had an expiration date I wasn't aware of. And that's when faith had to get deeper than emotion. Because emotion says, this hurts. Faith says, this is shaping you. Waiting teaches surrender, not passivity, but trust. Trust that what is meant for you will arrive at the right time, not just the convenient one. Trust that delay is not denial. Trust that growth is happening even when progress isn't visible. Some of the most important work happens underground, where no one can see it. Think about it. Nothing strong grows quickly. Roots take time, character takes time, wisdom takes time. If everything arrived the moment you asked for it, you wouldn't be ready to hold it. Waiting builds capacity. It stretches patience. It humbles ego. It deepens gratitude. Faith in the waiting also teaches you to detach from outcomes and attach to obedience. You stop asking, when will this work? And start asking, who am I becoming while I wait? You focus on refining your craft, strengthening your discipline, aligning your heart. You stop chasing signs and start trusting the process. And here's the quiet miracle of waiting. It reveals what you truly believe. When there is no reward in sight, no praise, no confirmation, do you still show up? Do you still give your best? Do you still live with integrity? That is faith in action. Waiting also protects you. It keeps you from arriving too early, before you're prepared. It keeps you from shortcuts that would cost you your peace. It keeps you from opportunities that look right but aren't aligned. Sometimes what you're asking for is real, but the timing isn't safe yet. There were moments when I wanted to rush the process, to force doors, to settle for less just to escape the discomfort of waiting. But faith whispered, "Hold on." And looking back now, I see how much that waiting saved me. Saved my identity, saved my values, saved my joy. Waiting doesn't mean you stop working. It means you work without attachment. You prepare without panic. You move forward without desperation. You trust that when the moment comes, you will recognize it, because you've been faithful in the quiet. If you're in a waiting season right now, don't waste it by resenting it. Use it. Strengthen your foundation. Deepen your faith. Sharpen your discipline. Learn to sit with uncertainty without losing hope. This season is not empty, it is intentional. And one day, when the door finally opens, when the prayer is answered, when the breakthrough arrives, you will realize the waiting didn't delay your life. I prepared it. So stay faithful in the silence. Stay patient in the pause. Stay grounded in the unknown. Because faith grows strongest not when you're winning, but when you're waiting and you choose to trust anyway. Success can be intoxicating if you're not careful. It can quietly convince you that you did this alone, that your talent is the reason, your effort, your brilliance. And the moment success starts feeding your ego instead of your purpose, it begins to hollow you out from the inside. That's why service matters, because service keeps success from shrinking your soul. I learned that achievement without meaning feels surprisingly empty. You can reach milestones, collect titles, receive applause, and still feel disconnected. Because success was never meant to be a destination. It was meant to be a responsibility, a tool, a platform, something you use, not something that defines you. Service is what grounds you when life starts elevating you. It reminds you where you came from. It keeps you human. It keeps you grateful. When you serve others, you remember that your story is not just about you, that your struggle, your breakthroughs, your voice, they matter because they can lighten someone else's load. There were moments in my journey when I had to consciously choose humility. Not because I lacked confidence, but because confidence without humility turns into entitlement. And entitlement is dangerous. It disconnects you from empathy. It blinds you to the sacrifices that supported you. It makes you forget that everything you have is in some way borrowed. Service brings perspective. When you listen to other people's stories, your own problems shrink into proportion. When you give your time, your energy, your compassion, you reconnect with what truly matters. You stop chasing applause and start chasing impact. And impact lasts longer than attention. Here's something important. Service doesn't always look grand. It's not always public. Sometimes it's a conversation, a door you open, a hand you hold, a voice you amplify. Sometimes it's choosing integrity when no one is watching. Sometimes it's lifting someone quietly without taking credit. Service also protects your heart, because the higher you rise, the lonelier it can get if you're not anchored in purpose. Success can isolate you if you let it. It can make you suspicious, guarded, disconnected. But service keeps you open. It keeps you relational. It keeps you present. I've learned that when you give, you receive something far greater than recognition. You receive alignment, peace, fulfillment, a sense of being part of something larger than yourself. Service reminds you that life is not about accumulation, it's about contribution. there is also a spiritual principle here. Everything that flows to you is meant to flow through you. Blessings that stop with you begin to decay, but blessings that move through you multiply. When you give freely, you stay connected to the source. You stay teachable. You stay grateful. Service K. EP success honest. It prevents you from confusing your platform with your purpose. Platforms change, fame fades, titles evolve, but purpose remains. And purpose is always tied to how you serve others. I've seen incredibly talented people lose themselves because they chased success without service. And I've seen ordinary people live extraordinary lives because they chose to serve consistently. Service does not diminish you, it expands you. It stretches your capacity for compassion. It deepens your wisdom. It refines your character. When you serve, you also lead differently. You don't lead from superiority, you lead from understanding. You don't seek control, you seek connection. You don't dominate, you empower. That kind of leadership builds trust. And trust builds legacy. Ask yourself this: if everything you have disappeared tomorrow, what would remain? Your character, your impact, the lives you touched, the kindness you gave when no one was keeping score. That is what lasts. So as you grow, as you succeed, as you rise, don't grip your blessings too tightly. Share them. Use them. Let them move beyond you. Stay curious. Stay compassionate. Stay aware that you are here not just to achieve, but to contribute. Because the woman who serves doesn't lose herself in success. She anchors herself in meaning. And no matter how high she goes, her soul stays intact. And here's the truth I want you to carry with you long after this moment fades. Life will try to rush you. People will try to label you. Circumstances will try to break you. But remember this: nothing formed with purpose is ever wasted. Every delay strengthened you. Every rejection redirected you. Every tear watered something deeper inside you. Every silent season built a foundation strong enough to carry the weight of what's coming. You were never being punished. You were being prepared. So walk forward with faith, not fear. Stand tall in discipline, not doubt. Serve with humility, not ego. And trust that the same power that planted the dream inside you knows exactly how to bring it to life. Don't just survive your story, honor it. Don't wait to be chosen. Choose yourself. And when the world asks how you became so strong, you will smile quietly and know the truth. You didn't break. You believed.